I watch from the promontory as we gather at this most important time of year for us. It is October 31st, and twilight is upon us. The sun is sinking below the waves, and the moon prepares to shed its cold light. The folk approach. The men are dressed, as I am, in long frock-coated suits, black as night, with scarlet cravats. The ladies in long, dark dresses made of satin and lace. Many also cover their faces with black netted veils. All of us have powdered our skin veil, wear heavy mascara around our eyes, and painted blood-red lips. Tonight is a celebration. We gather here, on this island in the middle of the Irish Sea, as we have done for centuries, as we have done since the time before religion, before the adoption of their ways and practices. We gather for our celebration of Sow-wen. Although this term may be less known amongst the world, most of the planet still celebrate it as we do. They have adopted the more popular term, derived from the church, as the Eve of the Hallows, Halloween. We, of course, are the ones who maintain its founding principles, a celebration of death and darkness. This place of stone here on the headland offers a clear view of the rising moon as it reflects upon the water. I greet the convocation with a smile and the silent nod, which they return, before they enter through the pointed archway behind me. On a table just through the doorway lie baked shortbread, soul cakes, marked with a cross over the top. Next to this sits a large decanter of red wine and a host of silver goblets. The assembled help themselves before they take their seats. The interior of our grotto is lit by canvas candles, throwing their flickering light around the vaulted ceilings and the velvet-clad buttresses. An old chapel, the founders abandoned it as they fled the island for the mainland. We adopted it for our own worship, enhancing its features and architecture to match our aesthetic. As my congregation gathers, I enter behind the last, and the sweet smell of baked cakes reaches me. I grab a soul cake and take a bite of the floury shortbread and pour myself a goblet of the claret to cleanse my mouth during my sermon. Cushioned pews line the grotto, and my audience sit straight-backed on their wooden seats, facing the plinth. The final rays of the sun sink below the horizon, darkening the stained glass at the pointed arch windows and throwing the room into candlelit shadows. I take to the stand to address my flock. Welcome, friends. Here we are, once again, to celebrate our festival of darkness. I say once again, but I know this is an understatement of the deepest kind, for we have gathered here on this island for centuries. We gathered before the other faiths ever came to these shores, and we all continue to gather, despite changes to the wider world. For we gathered here know the truth. Darkness and death are our constant companions. We embrace them, not with fear, but with devotion. A ripple murmur and smiles from the assembled indicate my words have found a home within their minds. And I continue. I'm sure all of you, like myself, have been accused or suspected of being devil worshippers. That we commit acts that are horrible and terrible in a world of laws and ethics. Only we know that we are not satanic in nature. We were here way before the name Satan was ever spoken. We do not seek death or destruction. We are not agents of chaos or seek to claim anything that is not ours to take. Our God is nature, and only we acknowledge the importance that darkness plays within the lives of every living being. Why should we suppress nature? In life, why should we not express pleasure in the gifts bestowed upon us. And why should we fear that ultimate release of that shedding of our mortal coil? The hoot of the owl, the flutter of the bat, the howl of the wolf, the music of our existence, provided by nature. Of course, in this modern age of scientific discovery, we learn more about our dedications. The natural state of the universe is the absence of light. Darkness is the foundation upon which all is built. Even here, on our tiny planet, as this world orbits the sun, our lives are dictated by the cycle of day and night. Half of our lifetime is spent sleeping, the dark providing the essential recess for our continued existence. So if we are proponents of lives well lived, why are we obsessed by death? Let me put this to you. Imagine a world where death no longer occurs. That would spell our extinction as a species as the population burgeons, and we run out of the resources nature provides. Death drives rebirth. It recycles our constituent parts back into the environment to become something other. Our very flesh and blood are returned to the earth. Humanity has only reached this point due to the evolution of our species, the constant cycle of death and rebirth to achieve perfection. But what of our life force, our energy? What of the very thing that makes us alive? You may call it spirit. As we know, energy can never be destroyed. It can only be converted. So our energy passes from us upon death. And we honor that transcendental passage as we move on. So, honored brethren, feel no guilt in the pleasure gleaned from our celebration of darkness. It is a celebration of the fundamental principles of nature. I pause and take a drink from the goblet on my lacton. The wine tastes divine, its cool bitterness filling my sense of taste and sparking pleasure in my brain. We here gathered are celebrating Samhain. A cheer rises from the assembly, and the goblets are raised and clinked together. We are keepers of the ancient traditions. Of course, we adapt to a changing world, but the principles of Samhain remain. Before us lies the death of the year. All life is extinguished as we move into winter. The fields are harvested and the flocks are slaughtered. Our stockpiles will sustain us through the dark, cold months until we reach the winter solstice, when we once again hold the midwinter festival to demand the forthcoming rebirth. But tonight, friends, we honor the passing of another year. It amuses me when I look around at the regular folk. On this night, they wear costumes to resemble witches or cats or mythical monsters. They go door to door, collecting candy or bobbing for apples. They light jack-o'-lanterns upon their thresholds to ward off the evil spirits abroad this night. They call it Halloween, All Hallows Eve. Even though we remain in the shadows, our culture and traditions have fed through into popular myth. These people mimic our roots, but they do not understand why. I would not have it any other way. We should exist in the darkness as our influence feeds through society. I am amused by it. But enough talking. Let us proceed outside and begin tonight's festivities. As I end my speech, my congregation stands and proceeds back towards the exit. As they do so, they pass my assistant, who hands them each a flaming torch, igniting each one from a burning hearth. In the grounds before our house of worship, a stack of wood is piled high. Atop this sits a figure woven together with straw. The gathering surrounds the bonfire, and I am the last to emerge, also carrying a torch. We form a large circle, and then, without speaking, we approach the pile as one. Thrusting our torches into the wood, we step back and watch as the bonfire takes hold. As the flames grow, the moon is obscured by the rising smoke, but we can still witness its reflection on the waves beyond the cliffs. I feel the heat springing forth against the cold breeze flowing onto the island, and the faces around me take on a red glow. Around the perimeter of the fire, just beyond where we stand, jack-o'-lanterns carved from a variety of pumpkins and goods set on a low stone wall. Inside are candles, and we light them using long matchsticks. Their subtle, flickering glow adding to the blazing bonfire. As the night deepens, the flames grow larger, their wisps rising and flicking the air as a serpent's forked tongue. I watch as the straw man is engulfed, our offering to nature, a representation of the sacrifices my ancestors used to perform. During this time, we continue our celebration. We eat our cakes and drink our wine. We dance around the fire, carousing with each other, linking arms and holding hands as we make our merriment. We honor the dead. We honor those who have passed into the shadow domain, making room for the rebirth of nature. In our ecstasy, the flames throw off orbs of light, caught on the eddies and the thermals. The wind whips up the flames as we perceive these to be souls finding their way, navigating through the liminal bridge into the realm of shadow and memory. The lanterns ward against the evil that may threaten to return and consume the living from their jealous enmity. We perform our dance macabre. Around us the spirits fly, circling with wild abandon. A whirlwind of life meets death, of light and darkness, of the passing of one reality to the beginning of another. I feel the weight of time bearing down upon me. Ancient rites upheld, the glorious dead honored. We enter an altered state where our corporeal form mingles with the spiritual. We commune with those who have passed through our dancing and revelry, their final parting to the netherworld. We feel the glory of the cosmos laid bare, its secrets open to us, bearing witness to sights few of the living have ever seen. It is a privilege to be here, along with my brethren. And as midnight arrives, our festivities reach a climax. We join our hands and our minds within the maelstrom of souls, bidding them to depart, to embrace the darkness. The bonfire lights up in a final bright blaze before a thunderous sound of thunder echoes across the headland. Midnight strikes and the rain begins. Dampening the bonfire, it reduces to a reddening glow, and we retreat back into the chapel. Our celebrations continue into the next day, following our traditions. But soon, our physical form will leave this place, but our hearts will carry the memory until one day we too will become the honored dead. Until then, we dance, we rejoice, we walk amongst you always. We may live in the darkness, but we are always watching you. The next time you carve a pumpkin, I'll hand out sweets to the trick-or-treaters. I'll read a scary story. I'll watch a horror movie. Remember us, for tonight is our night. Tonight we celebrate Samhain.